Dear participants to the IDEP online training session on land governance in support of agricultural transformation in Africa, good morning. Today we are working on improving land governance through land administration. Land governance is a very critical dimension of making land play its proper role in development. So let's pay attention to this training session, to this module, and please go read the narrative of this module, as I will go a little bit faster for today. The objectives of this module is to inform participants on the role of land administration in development and show the benefits of living under functional land administration systems. Second objective is to make participants aware of the innovative approach of what is called fit-for-purpose land administration system. So we'll take you through the process of establishing and operationalizing such fit-for-purpose land administration systems. And last objective is to share the concrete experience of a country in implementing fit-for-purpose land administration system. And I choose Rwanda as a good case for you to learn about. That's the outline of the module. First, rethinking land administration systems. Then, toward fit-for-purpose land administration system, we'll see what fit-for-purpose land administration system is. Then, three, developing the fit-for-purpose land administration framework. That's the process of establishing a fit-for-purpose land administration system. And we conclude by the experience of Rwanda in land regularization. Let me go straight to the first part of the module, rethinking land administration systems. Let's think, we have been discussing land policy development, land policy implementation, and so on. But let's think that a land policy is just a tool. A land policy is a paper, it's a document. The document will provide guidance, but it remains just a tool. And a tool is useful only if you are making use of it. So land policy is useful only if it is implemented. Many African countries failed to implement their land policy. When you look across the continent, you see that even those countries who are known as having developed good land policies failed to implement those land policies. So the most important part is having a land administration system. So the core component of land policy implementation is land administration. Let me remind you what land administration is. And I'm borrowing a definition from the framework and guidelines on land policy in Africa, the AU framework and guidelines on land policy in Africa. Land administration is the process of determining, recording, disseminating, and generating information about ownership, value, and use of land and its associated resources. These processes include the determination of land rights, surveying and description of these rights, and their detailed documentation. So you have a definition of land administration. So read again about it and try to really understand the different components of land administration. But most important message, land administration is a core component of land policy implementation. That's why we kept it as concluding module. Land administration is an important infrastructure to facilitate land policy implementation because it will provide the framework within which land managers, land administration will have to operate. Land administration has 5 key components. 1, juridical component. 2, regulatory component. 3, the fiscal component. 4, the cadastral component. And 5, the conflict resolution component. So these are the key 5 components, and I think that as we are going, we'll explain more about the different components. One thing we can start with is that let's understand that most African countries failed implementing their land policies because they are implementing conventional land administration systems which are not adapted to the context of African continent. Myself, I'm originating from Burkina Faso. In Burkina Faso, it is estimated that only 17,000 land titles were issued since the beginning of the conventional land administration system, which is derived from the Torrens system. Remember that we explained what the Torrens land administration system is. This is a system we inherited as a legacy of the colonial past. And this system was established in 1900. So this is quite two centuries that we are implementing the system, and we were able only to issue 17 land titles. So that's not acceptable for a country who is trying to build its own, its development through making the best use of land resources. So the conventional land administration system is not adapted because it's too complex, it's using lengthy procedures, it's very costly, and it allows a very limited coverage of the national territory. So this is not a system that African countries should just continue using. And we can see the result of using this system. The existing land administration systems in our countries are not reliable. Most of them are outdated. The population is forced to be in the informal sector when it comes to land ownership, land use. It's not because they like being in the informal sector. It's just because they are forced by being marginalized by the existing land administration system. Our existing systems allows poor performance when it comes to land tax collection. One other thing is legal pluralism. Throughout the continent, customary land systems are not recognized by law while they are observed in practice. One thing we can also add is that those conventional land administration systems, which are not being operated, are an incentive also for corrupt practices. This map shows you different land administration systems across the world. Basically, we can say that we have three main land administration systems. In yellow, you have the French style land deed system based on the civil law. In blue, you have the German land book system. And in red, you have the kind of Torrance and English style system. What I can say about this map is that, well, yeah, it's good to see the different systems, but it's not as reliable as such when it comes to where each system is. It can be improved, but most important is that you see that you have a diversity of land systems. Thanks to NMAP, who prepared this very interesting map. Let's talk about some of the benefits of having a functional land administration system. When you have a functional land administration system, it constitutes an incentive for investment. Many studies also show that women with secure land rights earn more income and are therefore in a better position to contribute to the livelihood of their family. For the private sector, an effective land administration system creates an enabling environment for investments. And for governments, obviously, the land administration system allows more efficient tax collection and generate revenues for local government. It's also supposed to reduce conflicts over land. So we have a lot of opportunities using land administration, effective land administration systems, but let's also talk about the missed opportunities. What are we missing living under non-effective, non-functional land administration systems? We are missing the piece of enjoying security of land tenure. We are missing the opportunity of reducing risks of evictions, including evictions through large-scale land-based investments. We are missing the opportunity of having secure land transactions. When you buy a piece of land, you need to make sure to be confident that you are buying from a real owner. So that's very important for land transaction. We also miss the opportunity of conflict reduction, and we miss an opportunity of accessing credit. When you have when you own a piece of land, when you own a house, you are a lucky man because you'll be trusted by the bank and you can easily access credit for investments. Let me talk quickly about benefits lost specifically by governments. Governments that don't have an effective land administration system miss an enabling environment for foreign direct investment. They experience limited tax collection, so they lose resources for their national budget. They miss also a reliable source of land information in support of sound decision making. And they miss also a source of important information for land policy reform processes. So it's a negative impact for the overall sustainable development of the concerned country. Here you have a diagram of the land administration system, how it could work. You have the 4 components here: land information, land policy, land administration, and the use of land. So they are talking to each other and contribute, therefore, to sustainable development. Let me now go to what kind of land administration do we need? We need functional and adapted land administration systems in Africa. That's what is called fit for purpose land administration system. So let's look a little bit deeper in this system. Obviously, there is a need to reform land administration systems in Africa. What kind of land administration system do we need in Africa? Africa needs land administration systems which recognize and secure the legitimate land rights of all land users, including the poor, women, vulnerable groups in the society. Remember that in most African countries, land rights are based on customary practices and norms which are not recognized by law. So you cannot marginalize 80% of your own population with land administration systems which are not adapted. Africa also needs land administration systems which are simple and affordable to operate. We are poor countries. We cannot just jump into a very sophisticated land administration system for which we don't have the technicity, for which we don't have the human resources or the financial resources to operate. So we need something which is adapted to our own conditions. We need land administration systems which allow rapid coverage of the national territory. Many studies show that only 10% of the territory of most African countries are governed under the existing land administration systems, which is not acceptable today. And we need land administration systems which are sustainable for countries with limited financial and technical human capacity. Some of the challenges to moving toward more adapted land administration systems relate to limited political commitment and strong resistance to change, mainly from existing land administration agencies. I think that you might have noticed this in your respective countries. What is fit for purpose land administration system then? Fit for purpose land administration system is a new, innovative, and pragmatic approach to land administration. It has been derived from innovative experience of some of African countries. I would think of Rwanda and also of Ethiopia. These systems are designed specifically for developing countries, and African countries are really the key target for using this fit for purpose land administration system. Africa needs land administration systems which are respondent to the country-specific priority needs, meaning that the land administration system need to respond to the specific context of each country. The fit for purpose land administration system is affordable for countries with limited resources. It's also flexible and sustainable. The experience of Rwanda showed, for example, that they were able to register and issue land certificate for $7 per plot. This is accessible for the majority of normal Rwandan citizens. But most important, fit for purpose land administration can be further upgraded. You will start with a simple or basic system, but understand that that's not the end of the story. You can upgrade it later when the need is felt. Three characteristics of the fit for purpose land administration system. It focuses on the purpose, it's based on flexibility, and it's based on incremental upgrading. The focus on the purpose means that it's given key importance to what is the main purpose of the land administration system. What do we need to achieve? That's the purpose. We need to provide security of tenure to land users. We need to facilitate access to credit. We need to support property valuation and taxation. We need to control the use of land, and we need to develop the land. And finally, we need to provide land information to decision makers. This is the what we need to do with the land administration system. Once we know what we want, we can now try to see the how. The how will come as a second step of the process. You don't start with a system that is not targeted to your real need and what you need. So the what first and the how as a second step. The flexibility means that the system needs to be adaptable and meet the actual land administration needs. It's really focused on what a specific country needs. And this will have an impact on what is the needs in terms of level of accuracy of land demarcation, for example. It will have impact of the spatial land information infrastructure. What type of infrastructure do we need? It needs to consider all types of land rights, formal land rights, customary-based land rights, informal occupancy, and others. What is in the ground? You need to focus on that and take this into consideration. This is the aspect of flexibility, and it will allow you to cover the needs of all land users, not marginalizing those who don't have a title deed, for example. And the third characteristic is the incremental aspect of the fit for purpose land administration system. I have talked about this several times. You start with a basic system, but you think that this system can be upgraded based on the needs you are feeling as you are operating, as your country is developing. So it's a system which is able to improve over time. Now let's talk about the conceptual framework. There are three core interrelated components: the spatial framework, the legal framework, and the institutional framework. The spatial framework is developed using aerial imagery. Aerial imagery is preferred rather than field surveys. What's the benefit of using aerial imagery? Aerial imagery allows appropriate identification of boundaries and representation of the way land is occupied. When you use the spatial imagery, you can see the boundaries, meaning that you can go to participatory demarcation, because land users can see their land boundaries. They can identify, for example, where the village is, where such tree is, and others. So they can understand and contribute in a participatory manner to the demarcation. From time to time, the conventional field surveys, such as handheld GPS or cell phone recording methods, can be used, and specifically when you are in context with dense and high-value urban areas. So using the basic systems doesn't mean you don't use other systems. It will depend on the purpose. If I have to demarcate a pastoral land, you can see that I don't need that much accuracy than demarcating a plot in a dense urban area. So this is something very important for the spatial framework. For the legal framework also is very important, because the fit-for-purpose land administration system needs to be enshrined in law. That's how you will provide a legal basis for securing and managing the land rights. So it's important that the system is enshrined in law. So you need to develop the legal framework. And this legal framework needs to be simple and designed for decentralized land administration. And the legal framework should also include the various land rights and various tenure systems. You need to consider customary land rights, you need to consider informal occupation, you need to consider those who are established by law as well. The institutional framework, which is the third dimension, is designed in order to administer the land rights, and to administer land rights based on the principles of good governance. Good governance needs to be observed in administering the land rights, meaning ensuring transparency, cost-effective and sustainable administration of the system, and easy access to land information for all citizens. And we consider land administration activities here in a very holistic manner, meaning it's land and natural resources as a whole. So here you can see how the three components of the fit-for-purpose land administration system is working. At the top, you have the spatial framework. At the left, you have the legal framework, and at the right, you have the institutional framework, and they talk to each other, and that's how you have an operational fit-for-purpose land administration